Alright, welcome back to the studio. I pulled out some glass from the kiln and I thought I'd take some time to show you what we did. We can start with some of the sets that I'm in the middle of making. I am doing some kitchen sets. So we have a spoon rest and some designs elements that will go on serving spoons. So this turned out really nice, really smooth and creamy and shiny. So this will be slumped into the shape of the spoon rest. This is a stainless steel mold, and as you can see, when it's put together and put back into the heat, it will slump into the dimensions of the stainless. So this process is not quite done yet. I did the first run just to get my glass fused together, and then we'll go back into the kiln and shape it. That also has some other elements that go with the serving spoon. So this would be one of the serving items, and the glass that matches the spoon rest would look like this, and it will be attached. And then it'll have some fancy wire wrapping done to it, and it'll look like this when we're done. So as you can see, it's attached to the spoon and wrapped with the wire, and then you end up with a glass serving spoon, fork, what is it, spaghetti server. Okay, so the same goes for these. This is that funky orange glass swirls that goes in very bright and comes out a little bit more dulled down. I just did some odd shapes, so we have three serving utensils, and they'll be attached with the wire wrapping the same way. When the glass went into the kiln, it was more like this, and as it goes through the heat, it dulls down a little, gets a little bit more of a brown color. I guess the only way I can describe that in my own mind, I think of it as when blood comes out is very red, but when it dries, it gets a little bit more brown, and I think that's what kind of happens with the orange glass. It's kind of gross, but that's the way I think about it. Okay, so moving on, we have another organically shaped spoon rest. I'm going to be making a slumping mold for this by hand. I'm not going to be using a stainless like that. I'm going to make one out of fiber blanket and do my own organic spoon area. This one turned out cool. I just used clear over top of some iridized glass. This is just all iridized, and just put some funky strips of clear in a certain area. So you can see the difference in the way it looks when you just add the clear effect in areas. And this will get slumped into a little dish. This is a little piece that will eventually get slumped into a little bowl shape, something like this. This is a little big, but if you can imagine, when you put that on there and put it in the heat, it will just take the shape. For this one, I would use, of course, a little bit bigger piece of glass, but you get the idea that it'll shape down, and actually this will be the inside so that you can see the design on the bottom of the bowl when you're looking at it. Same goes for my little picnic going on here. I'm going to have a little slumping on that one too into a little dish, and of course, again, that element will be on the inside of the dish when it's slumped. This here is my peacock feathers. I wasn't too happy about a couple things. So what I did was use my Dremel tool and a dish of water, and I went through because I had a big white speck on the glass here. And I used the Dremel tool to take that away. So you'll see the scratch marks on there now where the drill was grinding out that. So that'll go back in the heat and go back to glass, shiny glass. I also wasn't happy with some of the spots, the black spots. I didn't think that they were big enough or bold enough. So I had to nip off the top of a couple of these to make them flat again, because they're, as you can see, they're rounded. So I want to be able to put black back on there. If I left them rounded and stuck a black dot on there and put in the heat, it might slide off with the movement in the kiln from the heat. So I just took my Dremel and I kind of just nipped off the top to give it a little rough spot and to level it a little bit so it'll hold some more black dots. And then I'm going to run this back in the kiln, some better dots on there. And then I'll use that as a design element on, I don't know yet, maybe inside a dish or maybe even slump a vase with it, I'm not sure. So that's the run. Turned out good. This is another element with the little yellow flowers, millefioris, and some pink and greens, and which also can be used on the utensils when I decide if I'm going to make some more of those. We'll see. So that's the run.